Hello everyone, my name's Nisha and I am the YogicAmnesiac. First off, I know you guys are probably aching for a routine, but after last week and everything that's been going on, I just can't give you a routine right now, but I will try to get one to you as soon as I possibly can, but I figured I should at least give you something. I do have a working SD card now, so you can expect to be seeing videos again more regularly and, without me worrying about if I'll lose footage or not. Also, I know there's like a little mess over here in the room. I usually try to close that door. Unfortunately, I cannot close it today. There's a bunch of stuff in the way because my husband and I are in the middle of shooting another video in that room and it's crazy and there's a lot of stuff involved, so I can't close the door. I'm sorry. Please try to ignore this quadrant of the screen. So today I decided to go over some basic yoga etiquette. This is stuff that I consider more basic yoga etiquette. Most of it, if not all of it, is probably stuff most of you could have figured out on your own. Maybe you hadn't fully realized it, or you will be like, duh, when you hear it. So if this sounds like stuff you already know, there's no harm in listening again. Maybe I'll say something you haven't heard before. But these are just basic guidelines to follow that most teachers will appreciate, and it's especially what I go for. I'm going to start this whole video by saying that yoga etiquette and studio or teacher rules can be slightly different. I said it in the last video I made about, rules and creating a safe space for yoga, but check out studio rules and whatnot on their website. They might have slightly different rules from basic yoga etiquette, which you can find all over the internet, by the way. So if this video doesn't exactly cover everything you want, totally just Google yoga etiquette and you'll find thousands of lists. Alright, so I've compiled 10 things for you guys. I tried to keep the list short. We're gonna get through this really fast. But here are 10 rules that you can follow to help make your yoga class a little bit better for you and everyone else around you. Alright, number 1. Don't act like an authority or correct the teacher during class. In this moment, you are a student and they are the teacher, and there's a good chance they know what they're talking about. If you are a teacher, you're still a student in this class, so it's not okay to start correcting teachers or telling them what they're doing wrong. If you're more experienced and you're sitting in on their class to offer them advice, I'm sure you've worked out a way to talk about it, and I assume that's going to be afterwards. It's probably best not to undermine a teacher's authority by correcting them in the middle of class or anything like that. If you are worried about any instruction a teacher ever gives you, or you think that maybe something was weird, you can always approach them after class and discuss it with them. But again, they are a teacher at the end of the day and you are their student, so you can't go up to them after class and try to correct them outright either way. So if you don't like their teaching style, you're better off leaving their class rather than trying to correct them, because that's just kind of rude. My second tip kind of goes in with the first tip as well. It is refrain from correcting students. Again, you're not the teacher of this class. There is an instructor and it's their job to correct and help other students. It's not your job. If someone asks you for help, like the class is really big and the teacher is on the other side and they whisper like, what am I supposed to do? It's one thing to say, oh, I think we're in this pose. But please do not offer unsolicited corrections or advice to students in the class, especially if you're not a yoga instructor already. If you're just a student or if they don't know that you're a teacher, it's kind of weird to get all up in their grill. So refrain from correcting other students. Let the instructor of the class do that no matter who you are. Alright, number 3. Avoid arriving late, and please do not leave during class. Unless it's an emergency, which we will absolutely understand, don't leave during class. If you think you're going to arrive late, you probably shouldn't be going there anyway. We're really sorry if you got stuck in traffic, and if you can maybe creep in really, really quietly and you're not making a habit of it, this is a one-time thing, most teachers will let it slide, but we really don't like it if you arrive late. I had a teacher at a community college and students were constantly showing up like 15 hours late, and we have a very specific time booked out and he cannot go over, all sorts of things like that, and he couldn't give the full instruction that he wanted to, and people were constantly showing up late. It's really, really rude, especially because no one really had excuses for showing up late. And in that case, if you had a conflicting class, you probably shouldn't be signing up for that yoga class, because if he does start, you're going to disrupt the class when you show up late. Leaving early is the same thing. You disrupt the class if you leave early. If it is an emergency, the teacher might just let you leave your stuff on the floor and leave, but I would try to talk to the teacher about it or say that you have an emergency. If you really just have to leave, be sure you let the teacher know at a later point that you're sorry and everything. But especially towards the end, as you start winding down and getting to Shavasana, it can be really, really distracting to have people moving around, cleaning up their stuff, and trying to leave when everyone else is settling into relaxation. So stick out those last few minutes and then you can go. If you have to bring your phone into a studio with you, or even if it's outside, it's still a good idea to follow this tip. Silence or turn off your cell phone. And by silence, I mean completely silent. No vibrate function or anything like that. Probably best just to turn it off. And if you're expecting a phone call, that's too bad. You can't really go into a yoga class and say, oh, I'm going to get a phone call in the middle of this. It's not appropriate, and you're really going to mess with other people in the class. So please don't do that. Please silence your cell phone. Better yet, turn it off. Even if it's outside, if it's through a wall or the wall is really thin, or maybe your phone is just against the wall, if it starts vibrating or making noise, people will hear it through the wall. And maybe they won't realize whose phone it is and no one will go silence it until it's done ringing. So please try to turn off your phones. So my fifth tip is to avoid perfumes and to shower. I know that some people naturally sweat more, have a stronger body odor, and there's not much you can do about that, but you can shower before class and wear things like deodorant, scrub your body nicely, and that will help to minimize the amount of smells you're putting out and help you last longer without starting to smell like sweat or anything like that. Obviously, you're doing exercise. If you start sweating, there's nothing you can do about it, and we all will understand. It's totally okay. So don't freak out if you're starting to sweat during class. Just think about more beforehand. You're trying your best to put that off for as long as you can. Avoid wearing heavy perfumes because just because you like the smell doesn't mean someone else will like the smell. I have been in classes before where someone is wearing a scented something, even if it's just a hand sanitizer, and it'll really bother me even though they think it's a really neutral scent. So take into account what you're putting on your body, if it has a strong scent, and all sorts of things like that before going into a yoga class. A really big one is to respect other people's spaces, and by spaces I usually mean their mats. The mat is a really good indicator of how much space this person needs, and then you have to put about another mat space between you and them, just in case your hands need to go out into like a star shape or anything like that. It just gives you extra room to work and you're not all crammed together. But do be aware of other people's space and how much space you're taking up and things like that. Avoid walking on other people's mats without their permission or standing on their mats without their permission. Just walk around it. It's usually not that hard. And of course, just be aware if you are in a star-like position with your arms out, maybe you guys will accidentally hold hands or something, and just one of you just move your hands a little bit and it should be fine. Most of the time, no one's gonna care if you accidentally bump into them like that. It happens. You sometimes don't even have that much room in a yoga class just because there are too many people. But be aware of that and mostly think about their mat, especially if that yoga class is super crowded and there is no way you can get any farther from them. Just be conscious of where their mat is. My seventh tip is to stay quiet and avoid chatting. Yoga is not a time to catch up with your friends. You can do that before or after class. We don't mind if you chat then. Some teachers do like it if you're quiet in the studio, so again, that's to check out their own rules and see what they say. But a lot of us really don't mind if you're talking before or after class. But during class, you should be a little bit quiet, maybe not trying to talk too much. Maybe you do need help. Sometimes there are moments where you just need to get the instructor's attention, whatever, that's totally fine. Don't worry about talking then, it's understandable. But avoid talking to the people next to you, chatting, and when in doubt, just stay silent in the class. It's better than talking too much or bothering people around you. Talking during class can also be really distracting to your fellow students. Even if they're not the one you're talking to, they might not be able to hear the instructor properly, or you could just be distracting them if it's a totally silent moment. So just be aware of that and try not to chat to anyone too much. Number 8, clean up after yourself. Whether you're using your own mats or studio mats and studio props, you should always clean up after yourself. put that stuff away after class. Especially if it's studio stuff, you should be putting it back where you got it from. Most studios have a really easy system for picking stuff up and where to find your mats and blocks and all sorts of things. So just be sure that you're cleaning up and you're not leaving it for an instructor to clean up. It's a lot of stuff to clean up, so if everyone left all their stuff out, that instructor would be there for way too long, and it's just a nice thing to do to help clean up after your class. Number 9, remember to sign in. Most classes, if not all classes, you have to sign in. And oftentimes these are also waivers stating that you understand the risks associated with yoga and all sorts of things. So you need to sign in because it's like a legal thing beyond just signing in so they know who was there. So please remember to sign in. Do your best. Usually they'll have the sign-in sheet there before, so as you're arriving, you can sign in, put your stuff out, and get ready for class. So please remember to sign in. It's really, really important for yoga instructors, especially if that's a legal document, like a waiver. Some places it's just a sign-in sheet, but they still need to keep track of this stuff. So, sign in. And number 10, the final tip I have for you is to explore in the class, experience the class, have fun, and talk to your teacher. I know that sounds like a long tip, but it's pretty much to really be there in that class. You might not like that class or find out later on that it's not the class for you, but while you're there, you should experience it, learn from it, take what you can from it, and never be afraid to approach your teacher and talk to them about your concerns or anything that you think they need to know. I just want to end this with saying you guys are awesome. We, right now, as of me recording this video, have 74 subscribers, I believe, at least last I checked, and we had over 6,500 views on the channel. That's awesome. You guys have been awesome, and I love you so much. Thank you so much for supporting me doing this crazy video thing that I'm doing, but I'm really enjoying it, and I hope you guys are super enjoying it too. I just want to put it out there that we probably are going to end up hitting 100 subscribers. So if we do that, do you want to see a special video for that or anything, maybe we can celebrate with a certain routine or do something special. So also leave a comment down below if you want to see something cool for 100th subscriber. Also, we're getting close to 50 videos. Maybe it'll happen around the same time, but I think I'll get 50 videos after I get 100 subscribers at the rate I'm going at, maybe. I'm not sure. But do you want to see something special for the 50th video that goes up, or maybe both together? Anyway, I'm trying to think of ideas for both of those milestones to combine them, whatever I should do. So if you have any ideas, leave that in the comments down below. Also, if you have any other tips or tricks for yoga etiquette, leave that in the comments down below. If you have any ideas for a routine I should do next week, I want to hear about that as well. Don't forget to like this video. It really lets me know that you're enjoying the content I'm producing for you guys. And finally, don't forget to subscribe. It's the best way for YouTube to let you know if I've released any new videos.